Hello and welcome to the walk-off, everybody. What a nice little game we just got to see here on a Thursday afternoon. This is the Friday show, but I'm on tour right now. I'm in Grimshaw, Alberta, as I make my way up to Yellowknife for a show on Saturday. Tomorrow I'm in Hay River. So if you know anyone in the Northwest Territories, let the people know, all right? And I'm very excited to be joined by today's guest, Jenn. Welcome back, Baseball Jenn. Check her out on Twitter, X, wherever you see it, at baseball_Jenn. Thank you, and welcome back to the walk-off.
I'm excited to be here. And that was a really good game as a segue into today. And Scott, I dare say that we watched the game one starter go the distance
I
today.
I mean, unbelievable what Gauze has done in the last three starts. I don't know if you saw them put it up on the game afterwards, but he pitched 7 innings and gave up 1 earned run against Milwaukee, 8 innings and 1 earned run against the Yankees, two very good teams. And then today in Houston to help win the series, to go a complete game shutout is just absolutely unreal. And the last time, Jenn, that a Blue Jays starter pitched a complete game, July 27th, 2024, Kevin
Kevin
Gausman.
Gausman.
Yeah, 9 innings, nine Ks, one walk, 2 hits, 0 runs. That's been the beautiful thing with Gausman recently is like whenever he struggles, it's always because of control. He walks too many guys, and to just see those walk totals around 0 or 1 for the last few starts, it's a beautiful thing.
I mean, it's late in the season, right? He's got some mileage on that arm. And for him to get out there and, put on such a performance as he did today, and like really just basically, put that team on his back, put that bullpen on his back. And what can you say about it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the bullpen needed this, right? Like the bullpen has been smoking and smoldering and struggling, and there hasn't really been a guy to step up, and then they'll have a good game. And then kind of something like yesterday will happen where Hoffman gives up. And this is the thing with Hoffman. You know what? If it wasn't dingers that he was constantly giving up, it would not be so bad, right? Like if he was just giving up a couple singles and making a sweat Jordan Romano style 2024, 2020, 2023, it would be a little bit more easy to just kind of brush off what we're seeing. But because it's constantly home runs, it it feels like kind of the death touch, right? Like it's just like, what do you expect from him? Because he's either lights out, Jenn, or we watch what he did yesterday and give up the game.
Well, and that's the problem because the nature of his role is that he's only coming in a close game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless he hasn't pitched in a week and a half and they need to get him some work. He's coming in essentially with the game on the line in some capacity. And so, one home run like last night can cost you the game.
Mm-hmm.
And, we see this when his velocity is not where it should be. And that seems to be correlated with how often he is used, right? So I don't know. I don't think that there is a solution moving forward. So many people want to give Sir Anthony Dominguez the ball in the ninth and just make him the closer. And I don't think you can just switch roles like that this close to
Mm-hmm.
the end of the season. I just don't think it exactly works that way. And I think if they did make that switch, we would see Sir Anthony get exposed more
Now,
often than we would like.
and I agree with that. I agree with that. In fact, if you look at qualified relievers, he is, I mean, it's Brandon Little who leads everyone in walks, and then Sir Anthony Dominguez is second. So it's like they give up walks. And that's kind of what, we're struggling with here with Hoffman is like he's not hitting his spots and he gives up dingers. So it's like you don't want to be putting guys on. Just to go back on Kevin Gausman here. So Jonah Birnbaum just posted this on Twitter. And he's like, feels like a good time to point out that Kevin Gausman, since the start of 2021, ranks second in Major League Baseball in innings pitched. He's third in FWAR, and he's tied for 10th in WHIP, minimum 700 innings pitched. And I mean, I remember being quite upset that they chose to skip over Robbie Ray and sign Kevin Gausman. And it wasn't that I wasn't a Gausman fan. It was just, Robbie Ray coming off a Cy Young award with the Blue Jays, the fact that he was a lefty and there wasn't any real lefties in play at that time. Of course, Kikuchi wound up signing, but it was just it turned out to be like the best signing that they've probably made in the last, I don't know, like 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, and Robbie Ray was great when he was here, and so of course, fans were disappointed when he was not re-signed.
Recency bias, right?
Right?
Like you can't help.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and that happens with fans. It's kind of part of the game, so to speak. But to see Kevin Gausman, and I mean, every time he goes out there, whether or not he has his best stuff, you he's like he looks like he is just dialed in, even when he doesn't have his best stuff, he is going, he's out there and he is somehow going to grind it out and give the team the best opportunity to win that game. And I mean, like I said right off the top, it's been debated and Shane Bieber and so on and so forth, but that's your game one starter. If you want to come out of the gate and try to win that first game, I think that's who you have to go with, and good for him.
I agree. Good for him. It's why they signed him, to be that number one guy, and he's going to be given the opportunity, it looks like. And honestly, this bullpen, it can't be overstated how much this bullpen needed a starter to do this for them. Right? Like, just give them that one extra day. Give them the extra rest. Right? They're right back to it tomorrow. And to have that breather, I mean, it does make me wonder. I know I'm jumping all over the place here, Jen, but we're going to go back to Hoffman really quickly here. Is there a way to Davis Schneider this problem? And when I say that, I mean, like, can you analytically Rubik's Cube this bullpen into being productive and what you need out of this bullpen? Because they have sure done a good job with Davis Schneider of putting him into the perfect positions to succeed. And in fact, that's what they're doing, because listen to the fan base and everyone is yelling, we need to see Davis Schneider more, right? Which goes to show you they're deploying him perfectly.
Yeah. I think that there is a way to puzzle piece the bullpen together. They just haven't seemed to found, that way yet, which does beg the question with 17 games left in the season. They're running out of time to figure that out. And I think, what I said earlier, it at least in part has to do with how often Jeff Hoffman is being used, because we've seen a pattern of when he's being used regularly. So for instance, last night was his third appearance in four games, I believe. That is not ideal for him. And I think when he comes out of the bullpen, especially if he has been used, they have to be looking at that velocity coming out of his hand, like right away. And
they really do.
If he doesn't have it, you pull him.
And to build on what you're saying here, so this is from Chris Black at Down to Black on Twitter, and he goes, Jeff Hoffman was pitching for the third time in 4 days yesterday. Last night, he threw the slowest fastball of his season, 94.1 miles an hour. And tonight, so yesterday, or I guess if you're watching this Friday, Wednesday, he threw the slowest fastball of the season, right? So 94.1. And then on Wednesday, 6 of his 8 fastballs were below 95 miles an hour. Prior to this season, Hoffman had thrown 14 fastballs all year below 95 miles an hour. Velo is key for him, and velo is key for a lot of pitchers, obviously, and it doesn't just work this way with his fastball. So same sort of thing with his slider. When his slider is above 87 miles an hour, it's almost unhittable, and when it's below that, he gets beat up, and the long ball is his Achilles heel. And I don't know how you fix this, Jen, because the truth is, as we get closer to the playoffs, these high leverage guys, the rules go away and you almost abuse and overuse them.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that's not going to be an option for Hoffman.
No, it doesn't look like it, because it hasn't worked out so far. And so I don't know this is, I also think is why, one of the reasons why getting that bye is so vital, right?
Yes.
Is to build in that rest heading into a series, right? They don't want to be playing, like 162 straight into a wild card
This
series.
is really interesting. I'm actually curious your thoughts on this because I know that if you look in the past, there are a lot of teams who got that bye and then they wound up getting upset by these teams. And the baseball talking heads are always like, they sat too long. Do you think that this rest, more so than a lot of teams, might actually benefit the Toronto Blue Jays, being that they're such a veteran laden pitching staff and being that they have been used so heavily?
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of mileage on some of those arms, and they have been heavily relied upon. And I mean, again, it is still a fine balance because we've seen them get a little too cute with that starting rotation and skip starts, and some guys haven't pitched in 9 days, and then they go out and they just, it's a terrible outing. But some of those guys may not even be playing on a playoff roster. So, I think that it is obviously a fine line for this team in particular, though. I think what we're seeing out of the bullpen and it seemingly correlates to the amount of rest that these guys have had. I do think that rest would be important. And I'm going to slightly jump topics here as well. But I think that rest to get a healthy Bo back,
Yes.
would also be pretty critical.
And we are going to talk some Anthony Santander too, and I think that plays into this as well. To go back to Hoffman here, not to pick on him. So Jeff Hoffman, 95 miles an hour fastballs are slower. March to July, he had 6. So 2% of his fastballs were below 95. August, he had 8, 7% of his fastballs. September 1st to the 9th, he had 4, so 14% of his fastballs were below 95. And then last night, he had 6. Of course, when I say last night, I mean Wednesday. Sorry, everybody. I'm really muddying the waters here. But 75% of his fastballs from Wednesday night were below that 95 miles an hour. So, yeah, maybe a few days off is not a bad thing, right?
Maybe. And I think I saw another thread about his actual pitch usage.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, I'm just looking for it right now. But it seems that they've maybe gone away from the way, he sort of used his pitches in the past. And you have to wonder maybe how that also plays into it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I can find the thread right now, and I'm sorry, I just don't remember even when I saw it. But whatever it is that's happening with him is not working enough of the time. How about that?
Browns crew, drop your comments. Where are you at on Jeff Hoffman? Is there a way in your mind to Rubik's Cube this bullpen into being the productive, dominant bullpen you need to go on a run here in the playoffs? They've got the stuff. Like, that's the thing. You watch Sir Anthony Dominguez and you're like, that's nasty. Yeah, his problem is if he's not hitting the strike zone, you're pulling at your collar. I mean, Louis Varland, his stuff is nasty, but it's same sort of thing, right? It's like, is he locating? How's he feeling that night? We haven't really seen out of him what Minnesota was getting out of him earlier in the season. Again, who knows if it's usage, workload, sequencing, whatever it may be. The Blue Jays really got to figure some stuff out here. But before we move on from the bullpen, I do want to bring up Braden Fisher because, I mean, this 2025 team, Jen, it's so filled with unsung heroes. I can't remember a team quite like this, right? Where it's like, yeah, the stars are being stars, right? Like, we're seeing everything we needed to out of George Springer and more. Vladdy and Bo have been absolutely incredible, but then you kind of go up and down this lineup of unsung heroes, and there's the Addison Bargers and the Ernie Clements of it all, and the Davis Schneiders, and just the way that they're deploying everybody and giving everyone the best opportunity to be productive in the situations they're being put in. And Braden Fisher falls right into that kind of wheelhouse of like guys you wouldn't expect. For those who don't remember, Braden Fisher was who the Blue Jays got for Cavan Biggio when they DFA'd him, and the Dodgers picked him up last season. So these are his numbers, Jen. And I mean, it's funny how much shit the Jays got for sending him down. Options. Like,
Yep.
you're not DFAing a guy that, even if, like this pen, they need the depth that they had. And so it just made the most sense, although it wasn't fair, because if you look at the 44 games, he's got a 2.83 ERA, which isn't a great stat for bullpen pieces, especially on a small sample size like that. But his whip is under 0.98. He's got an opponent batting average of 181. He's 3 walks per 9 and 12 K per 9. Like, this is a guy who was like a non-factor. He was in Buffalo. He might even get like down votes for Rookie of the Year. I mean, we're talking way down, but still.
He's somebody on this team who has earned himself some higher leverage innings.
Yes.
Right.
And that's what I was going to ask you, is how comfortable are you maybe pushing some of these kids past where you would have thought possible at the beginning of the season?
I think they have to, right? I think that, to use a cliche, it is literally all hands on deck when it gets to the playoffs, right? And if certain guys have been used 2 days in a row and are not good to go, or whatever the case might be, you are going to, a team does not get to the playoffs, does not win the division, and that's still yet to be seen, but let's just assume. Let's assume right now, because that is the position that they're in. This team has not done that, to your point, without guys stepping up past their comfort zone, past levels of performance that they've shown in the past, right? And so for this particular iteration of the Toronto Blue Jays to make a run of it, that has to continue. I was thinking about this earlier today in the comparison to, say, the 2015 team and their run, and how in that case, it was these big name players, with a lot of swagger who were really the driving force behind it all. A decade later, and yes, their stars are still being stars, but it's all those, it's all those guys around them, right? Who can be moved into different positions, guys who still have options and could get sent down for a period of time. Those are the guys who are the reason why this team is in the position it's in, quite frankly. Truly. And we are going to talk Vladdy in a second here, but before we do that, I want to get into the spot that they have put themselves in, which is an incredibly strong spot. And I know you kind of joked earlier, you're like, let's just say they win the division. But that's not that wild at this point, because if you do the math, if the Jays go 8-8, right? So if they just 500 their last 16 games, the New York Yankees would have to go 12-5 to pass them, and the Red Sox would need to go 12-4. Houston would have to go 14-2. Like, they really, as long as they don't fall on their face or anything, knock on all the wood around us, but they look like a division-winning team right now. They are 100% in control of their own destiny, because all they have to do is go out there and put up, good performances every night. And like you said, win those 8 ball games, right? That is literally all they have to do. It is fun to scoreboard watch at this time of season. I hate the conversations of, oh, well, at least the Yankees lost. Well, at least, this team didn't gain ground. Forget what those other teams are doing at this point, because as long as the Jays take care of their own business, it literally doesn't matter what these other teams do. I don't want to have to rely on other teams faltering just so that the Jays can also falter. That's a ridiculous mentality, right? So
it absolutely is.
That's my opinion on it. And if you do look at it, the Yankees, they have this, super soft schedule for the remaining 2 weeks. The Yankees look sometimes. I know they just took 2 out of 3 from the Jays, but they often look like they are the soft part of the schedule.
To quote Buck Martinez, I don't care what anyone says. The Yankees are not a good team.
I think I actually cackled when he said that on the broadcast,
Yeah,
and I thought, oh, that's gonna get picked up in New York.
that's gonna blow up. Yeah. One last thing to touch on schedule. Sorry, I'm touching my headphones that I shouldn't. One last thing to touch on about this schedule is that the Blue Jays are the best team in Major League Baseball at home, and they have 9 games remaining at home and 7 on the road. Again, like you said it, they have put themselves, it's their destiny to ruin at this point, right? Like they just need to take care of business and they've got this.
Play clean defense. Get your timely hits up and down the lineup like you've been doing much of the season. And, if more often than not they're getting a decent pitching performance, it's not going to take a lot, I don't think, to go 8-8 or better.
Let's talk Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Oh, Vladdy.
Because I love the man so much. And we can dive into his numbers here and stuff in a second, but I do want your opinion on, is this the most intense you've ever seen Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? And I'm thinking actually of the first game of this Houston series where they came all the way back and won in extra innings. And he had the in extras, the single over the head of the pitcher there and beat the ball out to first base to move the runner to third. And as a Jays fan, watching Vladdy grow up and become a more serious player, there was always that like fun came first kind of mentality. And that is starting to erode. This is the most focused and intense Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I've ever seen. And I'm curious on what your thoughts of how he has kind of morphed into this man on a mission.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. He took a lot of heat for a lot of years about his assumed attitude and presumed fitness and whether or not he was a serious enough player and so on and so forth. And I think that there was even maybe concern that if he signed the big contract, does he what does he have to play for?
Yeah.
Right? If he's already set up for life. And instead, what we have seen is somebody who is not only taking this very, very seriously in terms of like his own performance, but actually being the leader on the team, being the guy who is, talking up his teammates and cheering them on or patting them on the back or whatever, hyping them up, whatever the case might be. And that I don't know what it is to say about him. Like there is this sense of, yes, maturity and just, this is my team and we ride or die together. And I am going to, through my own play, through my own actions, show everybody, how much I want this for myself, for my team, for my city. And I really feel that that's what is coming across. And we've seen him, also like develop. I mean, we always knew he was an excellent hitter, but I'm looking at, you look at his StatCast page and it's a lot of red, and red is good, folks, if you don't know. It's a lot of red, but his defense, right? The defensive performance we are seeing at first base. He's
so heads up. Like he is so engaged in the game. Not to cut you off, but like the example is when the ball went to him at first and he threw to third to get the guy in extra innings. Like the heads up on that is so beyond what you would normally expect from Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Well, and that's the baseball IQ I think that people have always said he has. saw in the minors. Like, we have been seeing that at the major league level. And so when he's doing it on both sides of the ball at an elite level, game in and game out, he is very much, one of the reasons why they are in this position. And I mean, I'm excited to see playoff Vladdy this year. I think it's
So
going
am
to hit
I.
different.
I agree, Jen, and I think that there has been unfairly put on him this sense that he's not a playoff performer, which in my opinion is complete bullshit. And sure, you can blame the 22-year-old kid he was in 2022 and that he should have put the entire team on his shoulders and done it all himself. But I just don't think that you can expect a guy to accumulate experience without experiencing stuff. You can't expect a guy to like know how to do things and know how to go about being a leader if he's never been put in a position to lead before, right? So like, unfortunately, to be a well-rounded player, you have to go through the trenches of learning what a well-rounded player does, right? Like,
Absolutely. And, he has experienced the disappointment of going nowhere in the playoffs. And he knows already what that feels like and did not enjoy it. And so he has the weight of that also, that experience, which a lot of guys on this team don't have, and they've not had to shoulder that weight. And I think that that's really going to propel him in this particular playoffs. And I really am. I'm really looking forward to seeing playoff Vladdy.
and I don't know if these numbers put to the wayside that he's lacking clutch. But I mean, we are talking September baseball right now. We are talking the dead of a pennant race, and he has done nothing but show up. So this is Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s last 30 games in the middle of a division race, in the middle of a pennant race. He's hitting 336. He's got an OPS of 1,004. He's hit 8 dingers. So all the concern about he lacks power, the power isn't there. He's 50 home run pace in the last month, 22 RBIs. He's driving in those ribbies. You dig a little bit deeper in, you go into weighted runs created plus and just total bases type stuff. And in the top 5 qualified hitters in WRC plus for the month of September, number 1, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 311, Jen. Like, it's just absolutely insane what he's doing. And funny enough, number 2 is Bichette with 299. And then Joe Adell with the Angels, Jordan Alvarez 4th, and Matt Chapman 5th. So, I mean, it's not, we talked about the unsung heroes, but then the guys who are supposed to lead this team are leading this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a slow start aside, he has been exactly what this team has needed, both him and Bo. And I don't know, as a fan base, if we ever really collectively, I mean, we all may have said we believed, but I'm not sure deep in our psyche if we ever really thought the two would get clicking at the same time for a long stretch of a season. And they have. And I think, if Bo comes back healthy, hopefully, that carries forward. And there's no reason why it shouldn't.
Jen, after seeing Vladdy and Bo perform together this well this year, if there is a team to overpay for Bo Bichette, does Toronto make the most sense? Let me qualify a little bit here, because I know it's easy to say overpay and automatically think 320 million or whatever. But let's say a team's got to go 8 years, 220, which is a boatload of money for Bo Bichette, especially with the question marks around his ability to play shortstop. And obviously, there's a lot of teams out there who could use the bat of Bo Bichette in their lineup. I mean, the pinstripes right within our own division, he probably would do wonders for that offense. But just the chemistry between him and Vladdy, how long they have been together, the fact that they are both vocal about how much they love each other and that they're best of buds and all of this stuff. Is there added value in Toronto trying to keep those two together?
I think that there is.
I know this is a lot of speculation too, Jen. I know.
But you did touch on the one thing in there that to me is the wrench in all of this, which is what position is Bo playing in the future? Is he the shortstop for the remainder of his career? Is he being moved off? What does that conversation look like? And maybe you worry about that after you sign him, right? I don't know. I don't know how those conversations go. I think it's interesting that not that he's performing well at the plate, but Andreas Jimenez has not been put in to play shortstop with Bo out. So, you know,
that is intriguing, isn't it? And I
right?
wonder if that is maybe more to it than we're just letting on right now. You know, like maybe
right?
there
Like
is
maybe
some...
I'm just reading into things, but it's something that is noticeable clearly because that was sort of assumed to be why Jimenez was signed, was to potentially take over that position. And
Yeah.
that's, I mean, I know it would just be a short stretch right now, but that's not what's happened. And I'm sure there's reasons and I don't need to know them, but yeah, I going back to your original question though, you know, I think if they can figure out how they want to handle the defense and what that conversation looks like, I don't know what Bo is or is not open to. I think if I was a player, if I was Bo and I had been with a team for a really long time and had come up with this other really great player who had already signed, and especially if they go deep into this playoffs, right? There are a lot of reasons to return. There are a lot of reasons to stay. You know, yes, what does New York have to offer? What does this team have to offer? Do you really want to play in that atmosphere? Or do you want to stay with the team that has nurtured you essentially? And you know, given you that runway and do it alongside the guy you've been doing it alongside with your entire career.
Anthony Santander. So Keegan Matheson just tweeted out today that Anthony Santander will play baseball today. His AAA rehab assignment at last has begun. I guess that they are starting him for the next couple of days at DH and hoping to get him into a game or two in right and then left field. This is such an intriguing scenario because there is a reason to believe that Anthony Santander would be a huge boost for this offense if they can get him back to what we were seeing in Baltimore. And as much as it feels like almost an impossibility, right? Like I'll be honest, I'm on this particular item, I'm maybe a little bit more of a glass half empty guy. I don't know if there's enough time to ramp up. I don't know if the shoulder's 100% healthy. They talk about his right-handed swing is behind his left-handed swing. Can those catch up? Is the value in Santander more his switch hitting than maybe people are letting on right now, right? I know that the organization wants him to have both swings ready to go before they call him up. This is really a long lead up to just asking you what you think about Anthony Santander. And is there, in your mind, a real chance here for him to fit into this offense, into this lineup? And just from like put all the numbers and stuff aside, just your gut. Do you want to see him in this lineup right now? Or do you think that things are moving and shaking so well to this point that maybe it's best to just go with what got you here?
There is an argument to be made that you would want his bat, even if it's just to come off the bench in a big moment when they need a big swing. And who would you want to put out there to potentially deliver that big swing? There is an argument to be made that he is somebody you would want to put out there. I don't know that I want to see it. this team wasn't exactly at its best with him in the lineup. Now, I don't know
Not
if
that it was
you,
his fault, but I do know what you're saying.
right?
It was partly his fault. Like it, like it was. He was a middle of the order bat that just wasn't producing at all.
Right. That's what I'm exactly what I mean. And can he just sort of be slotted back in? Who's losing playing time? How are you shuffling those deck chairs? I don't know what it looks like simply because they've gone so long without him. If this were the beginning or middle even of August, and they had to figure out how to fit him back in and what's the best use of him, that's a different story. We have 17 games remaining, and a few of those will be spent with him playing in Buffalo to see how he feels and whether or not, he's ready to actually make a return. I don't know I don't know what those conversations look like. I am sure they're having them already. They must be.
And part of me, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say part of me, and this also goes to show you, Jen, what a great season 2025 has been for this Blue Jays team, because there is a little tiny piece of me that is like, it's the 2025 Blue Jays. Just fucking do it. It's going to work out. Like maybe there is a Kyle Schwarber 2016 Boston Red Sox in this Tony Taters, and he has the track record of having power. And when he was healthy, he was a steady producer, and there was years of showing that he could get it done. So like there is that like little bit of me that even though you have to literally throw logic right out the freaking window to get this, there is a little part of me that's like, you know what? Let's roll those dice.
I think it's pretty obvious that if he is ready to go, that he's in there, right? He is being used. He is part of this lineup. So I hope. What time does Buffalo play today?
Yeah, like right away here. Yeah.
I hope he's out there. I hope he goes out there and puts two over the fence tonight. I really do.
Yeah.
I hope that he wakes up tomorrow and his back is, thrilled.
He's saying
to be
things
there.
like I've never felt better.
That's what I am hoping for, because if he can be that guy, then he is nothing but a positive to this lineup. We just have not seen it. And it is late. It is late.
Grounds crew, drop your comments on Anthony Santander. Are you even interested in seeing him? And I really do like your point about the bench piece, because honestly, do it. Like if you're not going to play him every day and he's still maybe not 100%, I mean, to have a power bat like that you can left and right switch hitter, come off the bench in whatever scenario, even if it's just a mental game with whoever you're up against, right? Where now they have to like start being
what
like,
pitcher
okay,
are we bringing in?
Exactly. So, it's just one of those things where we're going to have to wait and see how this all plays out. But it does make me excited. I think it is like this weird outlying possibility that we probably shouldn't think too much about it and just kind of be happy with what the Toronto Blue Jays are doing. But it is an interesting thing to throw into this equation.
So I actually think that's a really good point, because, as fans who watch basically every inning of every game, right? And, there's multiple different types of fans. We get caught in the moments, and we have every right to be critical of decisions being made or whatever's happening and poor performances in the moment. That's part of fandom. But this team has been doing it. They've been doing the thing.
Yeah.
Right? One way or another. And I guess there is reason to believe that they can continue to do the thing.
I would love if this, like, I really am, Jen, in this like weird, like happy fairy dust 2025 Blue Jays kind of scenario where I'm like, man, things just keep going right. And I'm just going to keep enjoying it while it does. Like I've watched enough baseball to know that a lot of the things that has gone the Jays' way, I mean, just last year went against them, right? Like
Right.
same players, same scenarios, and just like different luck. So I don't know. I'm all in on this 2025 team. Been loving watching them, and I mean, drop your comments, everybody. We'll hit this up in mailbag, but maybe we'll wrap it up there. Did you have anything on your mind to talk Toronto Blue Jays wise before we call this, Jen?
I mean, only because it's been a talking point, I suppose. What do you make of all the conversation around Trey Savage?
I still don't think they're going to call him up. That said, I also feel like there's nothing to lose in doing so. I mean, outside of like, I just don't give a shit about service time. So like,
No,
just if he can, yeah,
service time is for losing
losers.
teams.
It's for
I
losing teams.
couldn't care less, right? When you're in win now mode, you do what you need to do to win now. I agree. I think, they've been playing around with his usage in Buffalo,
Yeah,
supposedly so that they could deploy him any way they want if they did call him up. But if they're going to call him up, you have to do it soon. You can't just
yes,
let the guy make his major league debut the
no,
same week you're starting the playoffs or whatever the heck that looks like, right?
yeah, and there again, like so because he's not on the 40-man roster, there is some kind of math to this, and there
Yes.
is some organizational shuffling that will need to take place. He wouldn't qualify for the playoffs without them petitioning the league, which has happened many times, and they could spin it as like we were waiting on Nick Sandlin. It's not going to come together. Like there are ways around this,
Sure.
but 21-year-old kid, I like in my opinion, you might as well do it. And if it doesn't work out, you're right where you started, and you just send them back down and leave them off your playoff roster, right? Like,
Right. Yeah. Well, then, and so then to that point, do it.
yeah,
Jays, do it.
do it now.
Just
Do it now.
do it, announce it,
Yeah, well, that'll be the last.
Or put it to rest.
Taking the words right out of my mouth. That was exactly what I was about to say. I was like, just frickin' do it or just shut up about it. Like, don't
Exactly.
like, we'll just put it to the side. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up there. Drop your comments. If you think Trey Savage should be called up, if that's something you want to see happen, put down what you're thinking, and we'll tackle this in mailbag. I am in Hay River, Northwest Territories tomorrow, Yellowknife on Saturday. If you know anyone in Yellowknife, please let them know. Our ticket sales are a little low. We're at 30. We're hoping to get to 50. So if you can let your folks know, all you Jays fans, those Northwest Territories folks, it would be greatly appreciated. Jen, thank you so much for joining, and I'll twist your arm to have you back next week.
We can do that. Absolutely. I look forward to it. And yeah, I mean, this is it, right? This is what fans live for. This is it.
Yes.
How often is there the opportunity to lead the American League East this late in the season and control whether or not you actually win the division? Well,
if it's Jay's math, it's somewhere between every 10 to 22 years.
Right. And as somebody who's, eventually going to run out of 10 to 22 years.
Yeah. Increments. We only have so many 10 to 22 year increments.
Let's get it done.